capitalize on this win and get 2 wins in a row, that will really unsettle Magnus. And that is his chance in this match.
And you gotta give, let's back up real quick to that last game while they start the next one. You gotta give Parham credit. You know, he handled a super difficult moment here where he was probably worse. I mean, Magnus's potential for an attack was all we were talking about. But Magnus spent a ton of time on E4, and then a rather kind of slow plan ultimately backfires. Magnus blunders when Bishop takes D4. Knight F5, I think what you were calling for, was probably what the doctor ordered. And then the heads-up play to give material back and just take an extra exchange in the endgame, I think is really where Parham put away that game. And look at that. Maghsoodloo says, if I lose, I'm not going away, right? He punches right back, and we have a tied match.
And Magnus now bringing out his old weapons. He's going for the Berlin endgame, which I have also made a video on chess.com.
I was gonna give you a shameless plug, but you shameless plug yourself, you silly goose. Man, let's talk about the Berlin, everyone's favorite thing to do. To the back game we go.
You're being sarcastic, but to me this is one of the richest positions in chess. The imbalance where Black's king cannot castle. Black has a double pawn, but on the other hand, Black has the bishop there. This is a really, really interesting opening, and it's one of my favorites.
I'm actually not kidding. I'm so glad I finally have a commentary partner who likes the Berlin, right? Forget Robert Hess, okay? Officially now you can spell chess without Hess. I just made it official. I'm actually not joking. I also think the Berlin is fascinating. The imbalance of the bishop pair and the double pawns against white's basically, just positionally winning structure in a lot of ways when it comes to the king side and the 4-on-3 that it is. So if white gets G4 and mobilizes the majority of everybody, that's where a long-term edge can be. Black has the long-term idea of eventually the bishop will be better. And don't sleep on the majority over here, even though it's a double majority. Sometimes it can prove to be more effective, than you would expect. So I'm just kidding, Robert. I know you're watching. Don't worry. I broke his heart just now.
You broke the audience's heart.
I broke the audience's heart. I don't know if you know this. We have some emotes being made for us right now. I don't know if they'll be live during the show, Amber, but I came up with an emote idea for us that hopefully gets us some subscribers before the day is done.
Featuring Hess and Chess, or
no, featuring me and you.
Okay.
And the fact that
I was very disappointed that you suddenly just to deal with the big, the massive fallback you had from the audience. You were advertising Hess during my commentary.
Here we go. We got the maneuvering begins. You highlighted how much Magnus likes those strategic games. Here comes the knight relocating itself to the blockading square, which is often critical in these Berlins. I kind of like Black already. I mean, I know that it's always early in the Berlin to say that, but the fact that White doesn't have what you would normally want. White wants the majority here. I can't get my F-pawn going.
And also note how the bishop on H2 is being blocked by its own pawn on E5. And Magnus, by moving his knight over to this E6 square, he's making sure that the pawn on E5 is never moving forward, which in turn will leave the bishop just bad on G3 for the foreseeable future. And now Magnus getting both rooks involved as well. I mean, my go-to in the Berlin is that Black is just better by default, but this seems even good by my very biased Berlin standards.
Okay. So, what are the long-term plans here? White has lost the
B5
idea. What?
B5.
Yeah, B5 for Black, right? To undermine the set pawn and the protection. But what does Maghsoodloo do to unwind here? I'm asking you, the Berlin expert.
Yeah, no, I'm an expert for the Black side.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, Black has gotten everything you could possibly dream of. So you have B3 wanting to play A4, but Magnus prevents it by playing b5. And now Magnus is going to play a5, a4 in the next 2 moves.
Maybe right now.
And
yeah, it's Mike. Sorry.
I really don't like White's position, and I think the bishop on g3 is a big reason why. Put that bishop further towards the center, and that bishop can get involved. But right now, it's just completely out of the way, blocked by its own pawn. And Magnus completes his plan, pushes forward the pawn on the side, and the big question is, what's next?
King comes to e3. The one thing that could backfire for Magnus if he totally opened up the king side is quick switcherooski over here to the king. So he's careful now. He plays rook a8. He's going to bring it to e3 and increase the tension on the new weakness.
I'm surprised Magnus made that exchange so quickly. But he needed to find a way forward. Just trying to find a different way. But he decides that he needs to open up the position a little bit to get a target to attack. His chosen target is the pawn on the king. And the rook on the open file will enable him to put pressure on that.
Well, I like something else too. It's just indicative of the psychological, nature of this match. Magnus is once again up almost double the time on Maghsoodloo, and that's huge because the last 2 games Magnus didn't maybe play his best chess and was taking a ton of time along the way. Here he seems to have sped up, found a bit of the comfort zone he wanted in the movement defense, and Maghsoodloo's almost under a minute.
Yeah, no, I mean, Maghsoodloo, he's just going to lose this game. And it's because of the bishop on g3.
Yeah.
It is the worst piece we have seen all day. It has no future.
But don't tell it how you really feel here. Yeah, h takes g5 will be played here. Let's wait.
I find honesty is the best policy.
He's thinking about rook a3 first, actually, here, I think.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't like that. I don't do anything to improve the situation of the bishop.
I'm with you. I was like, why? Anytime you don't just capture back right away, you're shocked when it seems obvious. But instead, he plays rook a3. He wants to win b3 and h6 with tempo on the king.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Magnus' strategic play of just going, restricting the bishop on g3. I think what's likely to happen is that Parham will play rook d3 to protect the pawn, and then Magnus will capture the pawn after.
Well, it's what we've seen on the board now. Magnus maintains an edge, whereas you highlighted bishop on g3 is more of a franken pawn, a big pawn. White doesn't have any moves. That's the other thing. It's just tough to be White here.
Yeah, and now Parham tries to maneuver his knight, but that allows for Magnus to get his knight to the d4 square. A big change in the pawn structure right now. Difficult to tell who this change favored. Magnus still with the bishops. Magnus has that d4 square where he now placed his rook. Bishop
Only has 10 seconds.
Yeah, but now, look at this. Parham is bringing his bishop back to life. The bishop on g3 is now ready to get into the action.
Finally.
If he could get that bishop over to the other side, that would be a massive improvement in his position.
Yeah, but it's super hard to do that with your king in danger. Here comes knight to c5. By the way, the b3 pawn is going to be weak. Or maybe even just rook b1. No.
Magnus was not too happy with his bishop's placement either. And now he's getting that bishop into the game, and then follows the knight.
This is getting super tough for Maghsoodloo. Always shocking when material is equal, yet somehow the computer says black is already close to winning. Several moves there, knight to c5 with rook d3, bishop c3, just, that hurts.
Very often when you have such a big choice of
Is there any moves? By the way, is there some idea like d3 and then tactics on f3 with the bishop and the knight?
I think that's unlikely because if you push the pawn forward in the center, white captures the pawn while at the same time
getting the bishop.
attacking.
Yeah. Magnus plays the
Wow, Maghsoodloo made that move with 1.0 seconds on his clock.
Classic. Unfortunately, it doesn't really unwind the problems. Now here comes D3 fine pancake. Should be, on the agenda.
I think the only thing this game has taught me, because I already knew the Berlin was a fantastic opening, but the only thing I learned from this is that Maghsoodloo will not repeat the Berlin defense another time in this match. He got completely stomped on, and he should avoid this endgame because it is in Carlsen territory. And Magnus was very comfortable the whole game and gets a win with the black pieces. And crucially, Magnus strikes back after having lost the previous game. And we talked about this. How can Parham win this match? He needs to strike when Magnus is on edge, when Magnus is uncomfortable. He needs to get 2 wins in a row to make Magnus